page 137, problem number 49. Write the quotient in standard form, 2 plus I divided by 2 minus I. Now, we know to add or subtract complex numbers. It's like combining like terms. We know to multiply complex numbers, it's like FOIL. Dividing complex numbers, we can't just, careful, we cannot just divide the real numbers and the imaginary numbers. Instead, what we're really doing when we divide complex numbers is really what the directions are written here. Write the quotient in standard form. So we need to write this real number plus or minus imaginary number without the fraction part. So what we really are doing is getting rid of the fraction. But to get rid of the fraction, we want to eliminate this denominator. And to do that, what we need to do is multiply top and bottom of this fraction by something. Now remember, we can always multiply top and bottom of any fraction by the same set of terms. It's like multiplying by 1. I can multiply by 5 over 5. That's legal. It's multiplying by 1. What I want to multiply by, I look at the terms in my denominator, and I take those same numbers with the opposite sign. And I'm going to multiply by that on top and on bottom. Now there's a specific reason why we choose to multiply by that. We'll discover that reason as we go through this problem. Let's multiply my denominator using FOIL. First, 2 times 2 is 4. Outer, 2 times I is 2I. Inner, negative 1I times 2 is negative 2I. And last, negative I times I is negative I squared. Now, check these two terms here in the middle. 2I minus 2I, they cancel out. That will always happen when we multiply a complex number by what's called its complex conjugate. Same terms, opposite sign. Those middle terms will always cancel out. This last term, remember, I squared is equal to negative 1. So this is like saying minus negative 1. So what we really have here is 4 minus negative 1, which I'll write as 4 plus 1, or 5. Notice my denominator now has no complex numbers in it. That's perfect. That's what we want to happen. That's why we go through this process. Okay, so I know my denominator. Let's take care of my numerator. So I still have to go through, multiply this using FOIL. Okay, we can handle that. 2 times 2 is 4 to start with. Outer gives me 2 times I. Inner gives me another 2 times I. And last gives me I times I, or plus I squared. Notice the terms are real similar to what's in my denominator, but now they don't cancel out. Okay, so if I combine my like terms now, first of all, remember I squared is equal to negative 1. So really I have 4 plus negative 1. So I have 3. And then my imaginary terms, 2i plus 2i is plus 4i. So what I have here is 3 plus 4i all over 5. Now to write this in standard form, I have to write my real part first, then my imaginary part. So I'm just going to separate this into two fractions. So this is equal to, instead of saying 3 plus 4i over 5, let's just divide both parts by 5. So I'd say 3/5 plus 4/5 times I. And there's my answer in standard form.